Hey everyone, it is ex Bethelite here. It's been a little while since I've done my last video. Just wanted to highlight a clip that I thought was very interesting. And of course, if you pay attention to the activist community, this is a clip from the 2022 convention. Speaker is Stephen Lett. He is one of the governing body members. One of the older ones, I think. I think he's up there in age, and he's also one of the more animated of the governing body, especially with the way he speaks and his vocalization. I think he's got an interesting voice. Yeah. So here's a clip. I'll play it real quick of his comments about babies. He's talking about young children here. So the title of my video is "Are Jehovah's Witness Babies Enemies of God?" So let's take a look and see what Stephen Lett has to say.
We're not born as friends of God because we're born as sinful offspring of Adam. Actually, if you think about it, we're born as enemies of God. Sometimes you'll hear people say of a little baby, "Look at that little angel." But more accurate would be to say, "Look at that little enemy of God."
All right, so there is his commentary. Look at that little enemy of God. All right, so basically, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that anybody who is not a baptized witness or a baptized follower is an enemy of God. That's their basic stance. Now, in the past, they used to be a lot more lenient and a little bit, a lot more gray area with the witnesses when I grew up. I mean, I think it's getting way more hardcore now. They're doubling down on things that, when I was younger, I wouldn't have ever heard them say. Unbelievers or people that are going to the meetings that are not baptized, they would associate with them, probably not privately, but during the meetings, of course, they would associate with people that come into the meetings that are not baptized. And of course, they find out real quick, who is this person? They're they're very much into investigating Jehovah's Witnesses. If you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness, you know this to be very, very true. They get into your business very quickly. So young ones, though, on the other hand, this is kind of a new thought, a new direction here, the way they're phrasing it. And a lot of witnesses, I think, are coming off saying, "Oh, he's just phrasing it that way for effect." There's a lot of Jehovah's Witness apologists. Let's put it that way. That will basically say, "Yeah, it's just bad phrasing." He's one of the older governing body members. Maybe he's losing it a little mentally. That certainly could be part of the problem. But it's a more hardcore stance the way they're going these days. They're wanting young people to get baptized at a younger and younger age. I was baptized at 16 years old, which I thought was very young. I don't even think I was driving a car then. I hadn't even got my learner's permit. I was still in high school. There was a lot of pressure on me to get baptized. There were 3 or 4 young people in the congregation at that time, my sister included. My sister got baptized the same time I did. And again, she was 3 years younger, so she would have been 13 when she was baptized. There was another friend of mine who I was fairly close to at that time, who was also around 15, 16 years old. I think he was around 15, maybe a year younger than me. So all 3 of us in the congregation were baptized at the same time. But of course, prior to being baptized, I don't think anyone in the congregation ever viewed me as an enemy. Certainly not little babies, little children, right? You talk I'd say if you're under the age of 4 or 5 years old, that's about as innocent as it gets, right? You haven't really done a whole lot. You haven't committed a whole lot of sin at a young age, other than being born into sin, right? As most religious people believe, especially in Christians believe that today, especially Jehovah's Witnesses. And this feeling of never being able to um, match the standards that are always expected. That is definitely something as you grow up in this cult that you become very accustomed to. Never measuring up, never quite reaching potential, always having to strive to do more. Um, and but they're just going crazy now. I think what's happening is just so many people are leaving these days. Statistically, as far as what's been tracked, 2/3 of young people are leaving at age 18 or a little older than that. So that's 65% of young ones end up abandoning the beliefs and leave the religion, leave the cult. Um, and that is a harsh reality that is probably not doing well with the governing body, people that are in charge of this cult. They're losing membership all the time. They're financially struggling. There's lawsuits coming out all over the world. Australia has, I think, 12 pending lawsuits, and they're all six-figure lawsuits or more. I think a couple of them are seven-figure. So financially, the organization is in big trouble. One thing I've noticed too is how much they've highlighted donations and contributing, and that was very rarely mentioned in the past. When I was younger, when I was in the cult, it was mentioned on occasion. If we went to a convention, I remember the last few conventions I went to. Um, a couple times during the I think on the last day especially, um, they had somebody that was in charge of the finances of the convention. I can't remember the person's name, the brother's name, but he was an older gentleman, and he would come out and basically say, well, as of this convention, we're running a deficit of X amount of dollars. We need this amount of money to be able to pay for the expenses of the convention. So they would do this a couple times, especially the last day. They would come out like 2 or 3 times mentioning this, obviously trying to pressure and uh, basically guilt trip the members to put more money in. That's something also that I think you're seeing more and more of. Where I live here in Florida, there are a few congregations near me. One of them, I think they're doing a remodel on. There are a few that have been sold, though, that are around me. And of course, the money does not go back to the congregations. It goes up to New York and goes into the coffers of the Jehovah's Witness, or the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, basically. Um, yeah. So when I saw this clip, I've seen it over the last month or so pretty regularly on most of the channels that I follow. And I thought, well, maybe I should just comment on it and do my own little take on it. Um, yeah, Stephen Lett. I mean, I kind of laugh more whenever I hear him speak. He just just the way his expressions are so exaggerated. It's almost cartoon like. So every time I hear him speak, I just kind of chuckle to myself a little bit. So I remember seeing him in Bethel a few times. He was when they were in Brooklyn. I was a Bethelite there. I remember, I think at one of the morning worships, I was maybe a table over from him, and he's well liked. He always seemed to be very jovial whenever I was around him. So I don't have anything personal against any of these governing body members. I just think they're misleading people, and they're probably misled themselves to a degree. That's the other thing that I always think of is, um, do these guys in charge do they really believe that they are anointed? That they do they really believe that they are kings and judges, and that when they die they are going to be in this special position, or are they sort of really understanding that, yeah, we're kind of leading this cult, and we're just taking advantage of things. I don't know. It's one or the other. I think most of them are firm believers. Most people at the top of a cult, by the way, completely believe what they espouse. They just do. So, you can say it's delusional, whatever you make of it, but most of them are absolutely fully on board. There may be one or two that might question, like, yeah, I don't know if we should go down this path. Obviously, they've had a governing body member before uh, leave. In fact, one of them was labeled as an apostate, Ray Franz. Um, so it's uh, it's one of those situations where I wonder if these guys really understand what they're doing. We'll have to see. So that's my commentary. I wanted to comment on this video. I thought it was just interesting. I don't think it's as serious as everyone's trying to make it out to be. But it does seem like they're taking a more hardline stance regarding young ones, because I think a lot of them realize that they're not staying in that cult. Most of them are leaving, and I think they're getting a little desperate. So that's what I had to say about that, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I haven't been on the channel in a while, so I hope everyone's doing well. Hopefully everybody is doing mentally well. And please leave a comment. I'd love to read them. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you soon.